What's going on, y'all? Excuse me. I was just watching Uncle Tony's video on the Buick Big Block, and then I was watching the Street Race channel. Some guys here in Columbus, Ohio. Billy the Kid races this crazy little twin turbo S10 small tire truck. Thing is amazing, but they've been having oil leak issues with it, so kind of brought me back. In the days when I was younger, and just cars we were driving around on the street, especially the Buicks and the Olds and the Pontiac. I had a lot of the back when I was in my late teens, early 20s. The G bodies were very plentiful, real affordable. You could buy them dirt cheap, and I bought like I think it was an 81 or 82 Buick Regal. Had just an old grandma 3.8 in it. It was blown up. The car was nice. The body was really sweet, really straight, and it was a squared off, like a Grand National type body. And I wanted a V8 in it, but I didn't want to put a small block Chevy in it like all my buddies were. I wanted to put a Buick engine in it. So I bought a 68 Buick Skylark. I mean, this thing was a rag. I wish I had it now, though. I would have loved to have kept that car and put it together. It was blue with a blue vinyl top. Excuse me. Had a blue interior. Neat car. Real neat car. Gave it to a buddy of ours. And I think he still has it, believe it or not. I just haven't talked to him for a while. I need to try and get in touch with him and see if that car is still around. That'd be a good story to do. But anyway, I took that Buick 350 out, put it in in that Regal, and man, that car would fly. I mean, it was a pain in the butt. I had to cut the heater box out of it. Well, not the heater box, but the AC box out of it, just because those engines they're really wide, but they're not as wide as like a big block Chevy or an Oldsmobile or a Pontiac. They're just a little bit wider than a small block Chevy, and they actually only weigh a little bit more. The Buick engines do, and those are a really neat engine. I was watching Tony in Dallas tonight, and they were going over them, and it's kind of interesting that they all had this, the 400s, the 430s, and the 455s all had the same crank. It was just bore size was, bigger on, from engine to engine, but neat engine. They kind of went over all the characteristics of them and the design of them and stuff. And I was always infatuated with the Buick, especially like the GS, the GSX Buick. And, those cars were awesome. I had a couple guys I worked on them over the years, putting exhaust on them, and those cars were torque monsters. And then my wife had a 1980 Olds Cutlass that we bought off of a friend of my dad's. It was actually his mom's car. She bought it brand new. It had the old 5-liter Oldsmobile, the 307 cubic inch engine in it. She drove it for a couple years, and she calls me one day in a big frenzy. She had to get somewhere. She was at her mom and dad's. It wouldn't start, and the thing broke it had the fiber. The timing chain gears were made out of like a fiber, like a phenolic plastic. Well, it broke and friggin' bent a bunch of valves and stuff. So another buddy of mine had a 76 Olds Cutlass that had a 350 Oldsmobile engine in it. So I bought that car, pulled the engine out, went through it, put all new gaskets on it, checked the rings and bearings, everything was good. A guy here in the neighborhood that used to build like those jet boats, like Finnegan has, he always built Oldsmobile 455s for him. I got to talking to him one day, and I was putting the car together, and he's like, you know what? I have just the cam for you. It's too small for what I do. And he's like, you could have it. He gave me this brand new Crowder cam for this thing. So I put the Crowder cam in it, and first carburetor I ever rebuilt. It had a big old cast iron 4-barrel manifold, a big old quadrajet. I rebuilt that thing, and man, when I got that car running, it would fly too. I mean, those big old Oldsmobiles and Pontiacs and Buick engines, man, they made some steam. I'll tell you what. I mean, the Oldsmobile and the Pontiac engine were heavy, but man, they would make some steam. My brother had a old Pontiac Grand Prix, had a 400 Pontiac in it, and another friend of mine, I've been working on his Trans Am's, got a 400, and we've been fighting these oil leaks with the rear main seal, and it's kind of what the the guys are doing over on the street race channel. And I had this inkling that the crankshaft had been machined, and that's why the seal wasn't sealing. The rear main seal wasn't sealing, and well, that's the problem they're having is it's been line honed, which means the main has been opened up a little bit on the rear main where the seal, where the crank, the crank goes and the seal goes. So they had to get a special seal for that oversized bore on the main cap. And yeah, I feel for them because I've been fighting this thing for 2 years now, and that's actually the one we're gonna LS swap. I actually talked to a guy today about getting we're gonna put a 6-liter LS in it, and it's gonna be fuel injected and fly by wire. I'm gonna wire it all up. It's gonna be I know I've been talking about it forever, but it's happening here. We're gonna start on it probably here in the next week. The engine will be here probably in 2 weeks. It's coming out of like Tulsa or something. It's a low miles out of a van, so we'll have a good engine for that. And the other big blocks that I've been around, I've never really been around a big block Chevy, or some of my friends when I was drag racing had big block Chevys and big block Fords, but I never really have worked on any per se. I did work on a 69 Corvette that had a 427 in it, or was it a 454? I don't remember, but I was the only one that ever cracked that engine open. I did intake gaskets on it. That's about as close as I've ever really been to working on a big block Chevy. Another friend of mine's dad bought a Dodge Magnum, the original Magnum, not the station wagon. This was like a big old Cordoba type car, like big old B-body back in the late 70s. And it had the 400 Chrysler in it. My grandmother actually had a Cordoba with the 400 Chrysler in it. Man, that was another torque beast. So yeah, it was just kind of brought me back to where where I came from, and reminded me of all the big old giant engines back in the day. And everything's kind of just cookie cutter now. And I mean they're great engines. The LS engine's a great engine. The new Hemi's a good engine. I mean they're all just the Coyotes, and the new Godzilla pushrod motor in the Fords. We've got some couple F550s at work that have those in them, and man, those things sound freaking great. So the new engines are awesome. They're really reliable. They last forever. We've got some with 300,000-400,000 miles on them already at work. So but yeah, I just kind of wanted to take a step back and reminisce where I came from and some of the old cars I worked on and stuff. And it just, like I said, it kind of got the juices flowing. Kind of reminded me of some of the experience I had with the the Brand X engines that you would call, but back then. And even when we were in high school, we got to work on a 350 Olds engine that was converted over to a diesel. It didn't actually start as a diesel. We actually converted it to a diesel and put it in our teacher's van that he towed his hot rod with, which actually had a 350 Olds diesel in it. Thing had a supercharger, a turbo, and nitrous on it. It ran like 990s and a quarter. This thing was wicked. It was a half-ton pickup truck, step side, had big old tires on it. He ran it in some weird IHRA class, sorry. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to fill you in. I haven't been working on new stuff my whole life. I started working on old stuff and kind of miss working on that old stuff, and it's kind of becoming a trend now. People want to put the old stuff back on the road, and I've been around long enough. I can work on that old stuff too, so it's kind of neat because I'm in the in between stages of I started out working on the old carbureted stuff, and now I get to work on the new modern fuel injection technology and the new diesel technology, but I can still throw down on a carburetor, man. That's my favorite thing in the world. So, but yeah, I just want to put a little short video together. Like I said, watching that video of Dallas and Tony and Billy and Bill, his dad, kind of fighting these issues. And so, but hey, that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're going to fix on some old cars, fix on some new cars, trucks, lawnmowers, boats, whatever it is, So, hey, get out there and fix something. I'll see you next time.